Have you ever picked up a tube of toothpaste, noticed the tiny colored square or rectangle at the very end, and wondered if it was secretly telling you what's inside? Maybe you've heard that a black mark means the toothpaste is full of chemicals, while a green one means it's all natural. It's one of those claims that has spread across the internet for years, but is there any truth to it? If those little colored marks aren't ingredient labels, then why are they there at all? Today, we will uncover the surprising purpose behind one of the most misunderstood details on a toothpaste tube, right here on History of Simple Things. The colored marks on toothpaste tubes may look mysterious, but their story has nothing to do with the toothpaste itself. They are actually a product of modern manufacturing, designed to help machines rather than shoppers. Yet because they are so small and usually hidden near the sealed end of the tube, people naturally became curious about them. Over time, rumors grew much faster than the real explanation. To understand why these marks exist, we first have to look at how toothpaste packaging evolved and how factories learned to produce millions of identical tubes every day. Toothpaste has not always come in the squeezable tubes we know today. For centuries, people cleaned their teeth using powders made from crushed shells, charcoal, herbs, chalk, or even burnt bones. These mixtures were usually stored in jars or small containers and applied with a cloth or an early toothbrush. In the late 19th century, toothpaste began to be sold in glass jars, but this wasn't very convenient. Every time someone dipped a toothbrush into the jar, the remaining paste was exposed to air and germs. Everything changed in the 1890s when manufacturers borrowed an idea from artists. Oil paints had already been sold in collapsible metal tubes, making them easier to carry and use. Toothpaste companies realized the same design would keep toothpaste cleaner and make it much more convenient. Soon, metal tubes became the standard, and decades later they were gradually replaced by flexible plastic laminates that were lighter, cheaper, and easier to manufacture. As toothpaste production became faster and more automated during the 20th century, factories needed machines that could print, cut, fold, fill, and seal thousands of tubes every hour with incredible precision. Humans could no longer keep up with that speed, so machines had to do nearly everything on their own. But there was one challenge. How could a machine know exactly where one tube ended and the next one began? The answer was surprisingly simple. Manufacturers added a small colored rectangle near the edge of the packaging material. This mark acts as a registration mark, sometimes called an eye mark. Special optical sensors on the production line detect this mark as the printed packaging passes by. Once the sensor sees it, the machine knows the exact position for cutting the material, sealing the end of the tube, and making sure logos and text appear correctly on every finished product. Without these marks, the machine could easily cut at the wrong spot, leaving crooked labels or poorly sealed tubes. The color itself is not chosen because of the toothpaste formula. Instead, it is selected because it creates enough contrast for the optical sensors to recognize. Black is often used because it stands out clearly against lighter backgrounds, but red, blue, or other dark colors may work just as well depending on the package design. The machine isn't trying to identify ingredients. It's simply looking for a visible target that tells it where to perform its next step. So where did the myth come from? Around the early days of social media and chain emails, claims began circulating that the colored marks revealed what kind of toothpaste was inside. According to the rumor, green meant natural ingredients, blue meant a mix of natural and medicine, red meant natural and chemical ingredients, and black meant the toothpaste was entirely chemical. The story sounded believable because the marks were easy to see, yet most people had never been told their real purpose. The problem was that the claim fell apart almost immediately when people compared different toothpaste brands. Two tubes with the same ingredients could have different colored marks. Sometimes identical products even had different marks after a packaging redesign. Manufacturers also changed mark colors depending on the printing process, not because the toothpaste formula had changed. In other words, the marks followed the needs of the factory, not the recipe inside the tube. If you really want to know what's in your toothpaste, the answer has always been printed elsewhere on the package. Most countries require manufacturers to list ingredients, active compounds, and other important information directly on the label. That's where you'll find details about fluoride, flavorings, abrasives, sweeteners, and other ingredients, not in the tiny square at the bottom. Interestingly, toothpaste isn't the only product with these registration marks. Similar marks appear on many kinds of flexible packaging, including food wrappers, cosmetic tubes, and medicine packages. Most people simply never notice them because they're tucked away where the package is sealed. Once you know what they do, you'll probably start spotting them everywhere. So the next time you squeeze toothpaste onto your toothbrush, take a quick look at the sealed end of the tube. That little colored mark isn't revealing secret ingredients or hidden messages. It's simply a guide for the machines that made the tube in the first place. It's one more example of how an ordinary object can hide an extraordinary story. And once you know it, you'll never look at a toothpaste tube the same way again. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.